To see examples of what we talked about on this episode, along with further information, go to bunchofdorks.com.
Welcome, everyone, to
Two Dimension Podcast,
the comic book podcast
with no direction. What's up, everybody? You know that song, you know this voice. It's Rook, and sitting right across from me, the one and only Don Moore.
Hello, everybody.
Man, it is so nice to actually be sitting in person at the table with you, man.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is awesome. Coming into the end of the year, we get to do a couple episodes, just the two of us, sit down, hang out. I actually want to bring up something we've talked about on the show with a guest, the wonderful Mr. Ryan Clater. You know how much we love him. He's such a great person. His annual dispatch arrived in my mailbox this week. For everybody who is listening, if you remember, Ryan came on, talked about annual dispatch. It is a newspaper-styled piece that he's done to talk about some of the work that he's been on since he did his book One Bite at a Time. Instantly, Don, the first thing I'm going to say is when I open this package up, he has this thing set in a bag and board big enough for this.
That's one thing when he was on the show I was giving him a hard time about.
I know.
Whenever you get any kind of newspaper thing, where are you going to put this thing?
Yeah.
And I wrote him. What are you going to do about that, Clater? But,
well, he figured it out.
Yeah, and the bag and board, it perfectly fits. One thing, he's very detail oriented. Everything he's done, I'm sure he's Japanese in disguise, because the Japanese always
They're
plan.
very planned, very methodical about
Exactly.
how they do things. Ryan has this beautiful ability to do that.
Yeah.
And it shows in every single aspect of the work that he does, whether it be comics, neon signs, pinballs, watches. Ryan has an eye for detail that I don't really think I see from a lot of other creators doing so much work.
But, his artwork isn't meticulous. It's very precise and planned out, design-oriented. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times you describe this thing, sometimes it can be very meticulous and not pleasant. His stuff is kind of live. Except the packaging is tight, which is what you want.
Yeah. Well, we have in front of us the first issue of Annual Dispatch. Don, I haven't even gotten a chance to look at this yet because as soon as I saw it, I went, I'm going to hold on to this until Don gets here. So,
I will say the printing is sharp. The colors, it's precise, it's sharp, it's nice.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, just like at first glance, just on the cover, I mean, beautiful coloration. There's not offsetting like you typically see in newspaper printing. Anybody who's been in print will know what that means. It's where the colors bleed out from the actual lines of the drawing or artwork, or even photos sometimes I've seen. Yeah. So, first and foremost, front page right from go shows that meticulous detail that we know Ryan for. As you start paging through this beautiful newspaper print, I can't even really call this newspaper. This is a step above newspaper.
Well, he did say that. It was, he called it newsprint, but it is a high end. It's very almost white.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because, like, you would think on something like this, somebody would pack every page with detailing. Ryan gives negative spacing to be able to show off, like, on pages 3, 4, and 5, he shows off one bite at a time, just by itself, leaving a bunch of negative space so you can focus on that project.
Now, I got a question on that. Do you feel cheated because you already bought the book? Why do you need to see it again?
No, absolutely not. Here's the thing. When we talked to Ryan about like what this project was about and what he was working on with it, I actually really enjoy the process. I enjoy reading about how he does things, how he works through stuff. So seeing that again is just, I think it's him putting that feather in his cap like, yep, this is how good I am. This is what I do. And this whole thing is what he's been up to since. You know, I mean, pinball machine designs. This is hilarious. Charlie, thanks a million for your kindness and patience and support of my work. It means the world to me. Hope you love the book. And it's done. Ryan drew up a piece just like one of the stretch paintings from the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I get such a kick out of Ryan's style, his humor, his personality behind everything. We've got clamshell boxes, 3D custom stamp making.
I didn't know he was doing that.
I don't think Ryan stands still. I don't think Ryan sleeps.
Yeah.
The guy is constantly working on cool projects all over the place. Now, this one I did glance at while we were setting up. I noticed this clamshell for Super Mario Brothers 2. This is awesome to me. I get such a kick out of the idea of being able to store like a classic Nintendo cartridge inside of a box like this. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at how beautiful that clamshell looks.
Yeah. That is something.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So Annual Dispatch, the idea behind this is that he's going to be coming out with this, showing, what he's been working on, the process on how he works on it. It's not step-by-step, tedious detailing of, like, every single part of the process. But what he does show, he shows you color mock-ups. He shows you how the process worked. This was an original proof, then we went to this, then we went to another piece. This Mega Man cross stitch.
Yeah, hold on, before we get to that, I hate to massage somebody's ego, but those neon signs are incredible.
Oh, his neon signage. If I had a spot for a neon sign, I would definitely have Ryan make me one.
Well, if I could afford it.
That's the other part of it.
That's
if I could afford it.
I'd find someplace to put him. That's something.
It really is, man. I mean, it's just and then he goes into cross-stitching. He cross-stitched the select screen from Mega Man 2 for which enemy you want.
I didn't know he did that.
Dude, he just does things all the time. I swear, the man does not sit still. I mean, look at that. Look at the detail involved with this. It's absolutely freaking phenomenal. I get such a kick out of looking at anything that Ryan does because not only is it detailed, but it's also done with an amount of whimsy and fun to everything.
Yeah.
Here's a perfect example of the work being shown as the process. He did a logo for the World Pinball Championship. We've got the reference, we've got the first pass blue digital pencils, the second pass, you got inks, and then you get the flat. I mean, this is just absolutely gorgeous to see this. Anybody I think like us who's worked in design work, worked in, the process of making these things, whether it be from printing or the design aspect or even the assembly. I think we can all appreciate what Ryan's doing here with all of this stuff. Got an interview here in here as well, talking about how it creates and everything. I mean, this is just
his tools.
Yeah. I mean, this is just such a fun thing that Ryan's put together, and like I said, it's big. It's a good size. It's a little bigger than. Do you remember when Previews used to put in that little newspaper print? I feel like this is bigger than that.
It is. It's like the size of what Rolling Stone used to be.
Yeah, that's it. That's what this size is.
Or Life magazine.
Yeah. But. Ryan once again hitting things out of the park with another one of his projects. I mean, of course, he sends us stickers and all kinds of fun stuff. I mean,
yeah, the stickers are neat. I got the bird with the banner going through it. That's just absolute. One thing I can't help thinking when I see this, like a lot of people that worked in graphics, you always want to, you do your own work. You play around. But a lot of us, it's just playing around with things, thinking this would be neat if we did it. I noticed everything Ryan does, he's thinking of it as a finished piece.
Yeah.
You know, something to put out for the world. And that's what he talks about whenever he's on the show. Is, you know, to his students, is you're trying to get something done to put out into the world. Either publish a comic or, in this case, everything has a finish to it. It's not just a scratched out idea.
Yeah.
I just saw a video on Instagram from R. Allen Brooks, and he was talking about it's not your idea, it's getting the work done, which is what we talked about when he was on the show.
Yep.
Was getting it done.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, that applies to everything in life. If you look at not getting something done in the dictionary, you'll see my picture in the margin, you know. But that's, in this case, everything he's done. God, he's done a lot.
Yeah, he has. I mean, you know, we've got an entire book of 20 years of his work. An annual dispatch going to be keeping us updated with, you know, the things that he's working on since then. You know, I just really enjoy Ryan for who he is, what he does, and I just can't say enough good stuff about him.
See, I'm the opposite. I want to like Ryan, but he makes me feel small. He makes me feel like I should be accomplishing more. You're not better than me, Ryan.
No, but just more motivated, I think, at the moment.
Well, he thinks more logically than I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I know. It's great stuff. Once again, Ryan Clater, Elephant Eater Comics. You know, you can go back, search the previous episodes. I don't have a list of all the episodes he's been on because he's been with us so many times.
Yeah.
He is really one of our treasured guests. He really is.
But you pale in comparison to Lori Calcaterra.
Oh.
Just remember that she's been on the show more than anybody else, and Ryan, you don't have a chance.
Let me. You said the name, so now I have to say it. Okay, Lori. Of course, we know new issue of Path of the Pale Rider's coming. She sent me the digital PDF of the finished book. Yes.
This is the one that we read.
The one that we read the script for, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she sent me the finished PDF. I don't know if she sent it out to everybody on the Kickstarter yet or not, but damn it, Lori, she did it again.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean,
so that's something that interests me. I think about because I really enjoyed reading that part, and it wasn't the whole script; it was just part of it. Mm-hmm. But I would like to, you know, that's one thing I want to see is how it actually ended up in the comic. Because
oh my goodness.
Because, you know, when you're reading the script, I was surprised. It really painted a picture in my head. I mean, it could have been a prose book.
Yep.
And I don't know, I like to see, as we were just talking about process, I like to see the creative process and how it's all done. That's, wow.
Yeah, it's, she doesn't do what you expected her to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep quiet. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil nothing. All I'm going to say is, yeah, she curveballed you again at the end of that issue,
she
too.
Always does.
She always, oh my God, she always does, you know? And of course, you know, the cliffhanger end, once again, she's sitting there drinking the tears of her readers as they're like, why? Why did you end there? Can't I have like 3 more pages? I'm sitting there go, can I have some more, please?
Yeah, that's how you want it to be, but that's how the author would like it to be, but the readers want more.
Oh, always. But you know what? Lori leaves you sitting there hanging going, oh, come on. Don, I see you got a massive stack of books over here.
This is something that we haven't experienced so much before. I've been getting emails, people sending us books. I mean, they send us some when they come on the show, but this one, actually, it's not even a comic. It's prose.
Really?
It's All His Damn Mother's Sons by Tim Kirk. And Tim came to our site, and he liked the reading list.
Nice.
And but basically, it's what if Elvis Presley had died, you know, when he was in the army.
Oh, wow.
And what do they do? And I'll tell you, Tim, you write a compelling thing. I haven't finished your book yet. My problem is It's been busy. I know I say that because I'm not working like Rook is. But the other issue is my wife adopted a cat. I'm not a cat person, but the cat decided that they like me. So
Yeah.
anytime I sit down, the cat's in my lap and wants to be, she doesn't stop meowing until I scratch her.
Now, what's even funnier is every time you get up, the cat takes your spot.
Yes.
Yeah, we were prepping for a show, and you got up to go do something, and within seconds, all of a sudden, there's this little cat's head staring at me.
Yeah, she, anyway, I mean, but I'm getting kind of, I mean, I like the cat okay, but.
All right, but the book, all his damned mother's sons.
It's, when Tim told me about the book, of course I was interested, but I was really surprised. I had a different preconceived notion of what the book was about from that description and what he's pulling Lori Calcaterra on me. I mean, it's not like that, but it's extremely interesting. You're following the guy that's, the singer, guitarist, and you're following all the events that happens, and he's trying to make it, playing in honky tonks and stuff like that, and all the mechanizations of promotions and management starting to come in, looking at things, and you're starting to see things fall into place. Every time I get a chance to pick the book up, I grab it, and it's just like the size and length is like what was what was that book about the granite stone, 12-ton granite stone that appeared, the Onishi people?
Yeah, Lindsay wrote that.
Yeah,
That was,
Lindsay's books and the monkey maids.
Yeah.
It's the size of those books. It's not normally I would just knock this out in a couple of days. But
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a long book. I mean, we're under 200 pages.
But that was pre-cat.
That was pre-cat. The cat is disrupting your ability to read right now.
Tim, I haven't gotten back to you if you're listening to the show, and I will email you, but I've enjoyed this immensely, and I will get it finished at one point. I'll post it, and I'll have a link on the blog if you are interested, because I highly recommend it. And I told Tim, I had an Elvis, what do you call it, a conspiracy theory?
Oh, yeah. I think everybody's got their own Elvis conspiracy theory,
Yeah, but
honestly.
mine is real.
Okay.
All right.
Let's hear the real conspiracy
Now, in
theory.
1988, there started to be Elvis sightings. This never happened before. Everybody knew he was gone. In 1977, he died. And it was funny because the Pope died, which I didn't know what the Pope was at the time. And then a few days later, Elvis died. And I remember when the Pope died, everybody, the Pope died? What's the Pope? And then a few days later, Elvis died. And then somebody made a comment later, says, Elvis has got all the coverage. They kind of forgot about the Pope. Isn't that something? But my God, next thing you know, you started seeing pictures of people with Elvis shrines, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
he's not a religious figure, but they were treating
Oh,
him
they
like
treat
one.
him like one.
But in 88, the National Enquirer, which isn't a really top journalistic magazine, but they had a line drawing of like a mugshot of an older Elvis with a beard. And they said somebody'd seen him. Next thing you know, you started seeing commercials where this guy's pumping gas and he looks up and Elvis is pumping gas in a white peacock suit.
Really?
Yeah, and you started, what was it, that comic strip, Bloom County, in the newspaper? It had one where Elvis was working as a city worker, fixing the streets, fixing the roads. But he just started appearing. Every once in a while people would have some Elvis sighting.
Oh, yeah.
And I started thinking, everybody talks about the Elvis before he joined the Army and then the Elvis after he joined the Army. It was different,
Well, I mean, service will do that to you.
Yeah. But, he was in Germany. He didn't, go anywhere. But I was thinking, what really happened? Everybody talked about Elvis had a twin brother, Jesse, who died at birth. And, what if that didn't really happen? What if Jesse grew up with Elvis? Elvis got put in the Army. and he did really well. He ended up like in Special Forces, went to Vietnam. He was an exceptional soldier. He decided music was behind him. This was his life now. And the colonel's like, what am I going to do?
So he goes and grabs the brother.
He says, he's got a twin brother. So he put Jesse out, and that's when the change came. That's when it was kind of lame, and Elvis wasn't the rock and roll god that he was before the Army. He was safe. Mm-hmm. He was a product. He was, doing the movies and stuff, which people say lame, but they're kind of neat. I like them. And, Speed Racer was based off of Spin Out, the Elvis Presley Spin Out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely it was.
So, even though people say lame, he influenced a lot of awesome stuff that came that I love later. And, but I thought, and that's why when they started getting the Elvis sides at the end of the 80s, it's because his service was done.
Oh, he got out of the military.
He finished the military, so he was out in the world doing stuff instead of, straightening things out and causing chaos. That's when people started seeing Elvis again. And Jesse was the one that died overweight on the toilet. See what I mean?
Ah, interesting theory.
So that's my theory.
But how do you hide the fact that Jesse lived that entire time?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Listen, I just come up like
Sorry,
most people.
I'm over here shooting holes in your conspiracy theory.
I just like everybody comes up with conspiracy theories. I come up with a theory. I'm not going to justify it. I don't have facts. I'm just going to throw the thing out there that's the way it was. And if you don't want to believe it, you're wrong.
Hey, there's hundreds of Elvis conspiracy theories, my 9-to-5, the owner of the company, he's a huge Elvis fan. And let me tell you, he has Elvis conspiracy theories all day, every day. Oh gosh, what is the name of that guy? The Masked Singer, Orion. You ever hear of Orion?
No.
So he's a singer that apparently looked and sounded a bit like Elvis, etc. So the owner of the company has said that he went to see Orion perform once back in the day, and he watched him perform. And he was like, "Yeah, he's good." And then he went to see him again sometime later, and he said, I'm sitting there, I'm watching him perform, and I'm going, this is not the same guy. And at this point, there's already been a few comparisons from Orion to Elvis. And he holds firm that he did not watch Orion play that second time. He watched Elvis perform.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the power of what Elvis did, because he still lives on. People still put that out there. They can't let go. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I mean, Elvis was and is. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Elvis, but Elvis still is an icon in the music industry.
While we're talking about Elvis, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of my Elvis background. I was 6 years old. A kid moved in from Chattanooga, Tennessee, next door. Of course, we were the same age. We were both in the same first grade class. We became best of friends. I'm at his house, and he's showing me record albums his parents had. It's okay. It's not really so interesting. But then he started pulling out these RCA Elvis records. And he's like, oh, Elvis, and I love him. And I'm looking, I didn't know who Elvis was at the time, even though my parents were big fans of his. But all I saw was this kind of uninteresting, kind of overweight guy with slick back hair. All of them are just photos of his head.
Yep.
And I thought, I don't know, this guy just looked like a dullard. He wasn't even overweight, but for some reason his face looked chubby to me. And I thought...
Okay, so to me that was always kind of the appeal of Elvis, is he kind of had that, very nonchalant baby face look. I mean, he was a good looking man.
And that's what was on there, but as a 6-year-old kid, I'm like...
as a 6-year-old kid, you're just like, who's this guy?
And growing up, my parents liked him. Again, my dad liked the Sun Record days. You know,
Yeah.
the RCA stuff wasn't quite the same. But my mom did. Whenever the movies would come on, and I'd seen them, I'd watched them by myself. Like there was Girls, and you know, I'd seen it, but you know, it was just because it was on TV. But my cousins, my female cousins, they just went crazy when it would come on. And one time, my brother, his kids down the street, the two girls were over at the house, and Elvis was coming on Friday night, one of his movies. I didn't want to watch it, but the girls did. My mom came in the room and she says, "He wants to turn it." Mom said, "Oh, he's not going to."
Yeah.
And but I didn't. I always wondered what the appeal was. You know, what's the appeal to Elvis? He's just not. You know, and I'd see him. You know, when you do those shows in the white peacock suit, he was overweight, and I don't know.
Yeah, once he got to like the Vegas days, and you know he was heavier set and all sweaty and everything, like
Well,
no.
we were watching some. My dad was watching it, but it had his crew, which they always called the Memphis Mafia.
Yep.
And he's walking a white peacock suit, and like, "Okay, Elvis, you ready?" You know, and he goes out, and he, you know, they got all the horns and stuff going on. And then they kept giving him scarves, and he was giving them to the women. The women are all freaking out, but they're not the audience that he had before. They were Vegas ladies, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he was safe. But I asked my dad, I said, "Do you like Elvis?" And Dad said, "Well, I did, but not this one."
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, fast forward. In 1985, it was around 84, they were announcing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There wasn't a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they had one. You know, they were starting it. And the first inductees was Chuck Berry, rightly so.
Yep.
Little Richard, rightly
Rightly
so.
so.
James Brown,
Rightly so.
And Elvis Presley, which I say
Yep,
rightly
rightly
so.
so.
But those were excellent choices. But it was CBS Late Night with Charlie Rose. They were talking about this. They had, you know, I think they had James Brown on the show. But they were showing clips. They showed Little Richard was on the show another time. And they were showing Little Richard playing Tutti Frutti, which was electrifying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that black and white thing where he puts his leg on the piano and then he turns around and is playing it backwards. And then they showed the Pat Boone version. God, it makes you embarrassed you're white, you know. And but they were showing all these clips of these performers in the 50s. And then they showed Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show, black and white. My God, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, just all of a sudden, I finally saw what the appeal was. I grew up under the post-Sun Records Elvis.
Yeah.
Which again, I do enjoy seeing some of those movies. I don't watch them, but when I see them on TV, I'll watch them. And but man, when he started, he was something.
I think the big difference is the Sun Records days. Elvis was an artist, a performer, a singer. Once you move over to the RCA days, Elvis was a commodity.
Yes.
And it changed not just how he was presented, but I feel it changed some of how he carried himself too.
Sure.
I wouldn't say he was too big for his britches, because I mean at that point in time we didn't have, to my knowledge, mega celebrities like Elvis.
Right.
Elvis, the Beatles, these were some of the first like mega stars to come out and everybody just go wild across the globe over them. So I think once we go from the Sun Records to the RCA days, you see a very dramatic shift in how he was handled.
Right.
And how he was presented as well.
I will say one big difference is Sam Phillips, the Sun Records guy that did all the production.
Mm-hmm.
The production was deep and low and had it just went through your soul.
Yeah.
RCA was more refined, more polished, and
It was a product.
Yeah, it was. That was a big change too, and but I mean, at the same time, Well, you go back to comics. How many times you seen the Hernandez brothers? Jaime Hernandez, extremely popular, one of my very favorites.
Yep.
And some people will complain about when he first appeared in '82. There's a lot of detail, a lot of rendering, a lot of detail. The longer he's worked, the more stripped down the work has gotten, which I love. But a lot of people complain that but there's a bunch of artists, cartoonists, that start stripping their style down to the bare essence. And it's always solid, which is what I'm looking for, but a lot of people complain about it. And sometimes when you look at the early work, and I say this constantly, there's a vibration to it. There's a love and excitement, a passion to it. And sometimes you do the work long enough, and there are some exceptions, but after a while, it's like the thrill's gone. You can see the thrill on the page is gone, and they have the chops. They know everything. It's perfect, but that's the thing. It's like the old Sun records compared to the RCA stuff. Mobius was another one where he stripped the style down, but he never stopped being amazing.
Yeah,
he was one of the exceptions. But the Hernandez brothers are still just as good as they ever were. But that's the thing. Sometimes people like that spark in the early work,
Well, but there's also the thought in my head of if you're going to be producing at a certain level, at a certain, I wouldn't say level, if you're going to be producing at a certain pace, and you've got to meet those deadlines, you've got to get those things out there. Yeah, you do strip down the work a little bit. You do simplify it, streamline it in order to get it out there. Doesn't mean you can't still do all the crazy stuff that you got known for. I mean, is there any doubt in my mind that, the Hernandez brothers could turn around and bust out something just like they did back when they first came out? Absolutely they can.
Yeah, they could. Part of it too is life. The older you get, you do all the crazy stuff you and Dallas used to do when you're younger.
Yeah, I still regret and hurt from it. Every morning I go, oh, what is that? Oh yeah, that's why that hurts.
Well, there's that issue too. But sometimes you have a not everybody I've ever known, but most people they start thinking a little more logically and level-headed the older they get. When you're younger, you just think, well, I'm going to live forever, and let's...
Yeah, that's why I'm in so much pain at 45, because at 19, I was convinced I was going to live forever, and would ride on the hood of cars down the road.
Yeah, well, we always done stupid things like that. All right, moving on from the king of rock and roll and the lovely Hernandez brothers. This is another book that was sent to us. This is by Craig Yo.
Oh, all right. Just from Go, I love the cover.
Now, let me tell you a little bit about Craig Yo before we start talking about the book. A lot of books we talked about the show were Yo books. The Popeye reprints from the old Bud Segendorf comic book back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. It said Yo Books at the bottom. He has a logo, which I think is on there. And, yeah, no, I want to talk about. That's my favorite part of the book. But, Craig Yo, I always knew him as somebody who was an archivist. Like, he was always putting out these weird romance books, I think, and some of the monster books. He did a really nice Bob Powell book, which Bob Powell he worked for the Eisner Iger Studios, and then he went with Will Eisner when he left the studios. Bob Powell, he did a lot of Marvel work, but he was a really good cartoonist. Anyway, it was a Yo book. Then I found out Craig Yo was actually a cartoonist. He's the guy that put together the Comic Swipe Facebook page.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah, and he's the moderator, so the rule of the thing is we don't bash artists.
Right, did you see we just had a problem with that this week?
Well, he does come on. He's on top of it, and he says, listen, I had to ban a couple of people because, and he gives the reason why.
Oh, yeah.
And he says you can post the things, and I do appreciate that. I don't want to go on the thing and bash people.
Yeah.
And you can show the swipe, and you know.
Well, and that's the funniest thing about that group. We've talked about them ad nauseum, but we love that group.
Oh yeah.
people will post the quote-unquote swipes, but, many of them are homages, many of them are, hilariously so similar it can't be anything more than, an homage, some of them are just straight up swiping.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things on it. Eric Larson's mentioned on this a lot. Now, Eric Larson, back when John Byrne and Jerry Ordway was doing Superman, he did a fill-in issue for Jerry Ordway, and I loved it. I thought, man, this guy's really good. I haven't really read his work since. I've never read Savage Dragon. I think it's awesome that he's continued to do it all the way up. But they post a lot of his things, and somebody even mentioned that he swipes a lot. But when I see it, I see what he's doing as an homage to people. It's not like cheating. And he does give credit to where it's from, and all this stuff. Some people, Frank Bruner was one of the most famous swipers. When I started picking up Marvel Comics in around 74, he was drawing the Fantastic Four. And after Jack Kirby left, John Romita did 2 issues, and then it was John Buscema who did a really good job. And then when John Buscema left, it was Frank Bruner. Not Frank Bruner. What's that man's name? Rich Buckler. Sorry, Rich Buckler, not Frank Bruner. I apologize, Frank, because you were unique. But I liked Rich Buckler when I was reading him. But what he was doing was he was taking Jack Kirby panels and redrawing them, but instead of the Thing and Black Bolt fighting, he was changing it to the Thing and Submariner, or 2 other characters.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when you read it, it's not like he was swiping. He was told to draw it like Jack Kirby, and he did.
Yeah.
Now, there was at one point, the Comics Journal posted this, in I guess 84, 85, when they were doing the Red Circle books for Archie. He did, I can't remember what it was. It was something Jack Kirby and Joe Simon had done before. And basically, he took that and just kind of cut them up, repositioned the panels. And the article was Rich Buckler swipes Jack Kirby. And it was blatant. It wasn't like he was redrawing it.
Yep.
And then I guess he went to a lawsuit with the Comics Journal, and they put an apology to it. And he was given reasons why he did that. He was just trying to update the work for, a 1980s audience.
Yeah.
Okay, but nevertheless, they had to issue a statement. But I will say, he was swiping all over the place. He had 3 styles. He had a John Buscema style, he had the Jack Kirby style, which is the one I liked, and he had a Neil Adams style. Deathlock was the Neil Adams style that he did.
Yeah.
But the Jack Kirby stuff, it was kind of neat. He appears on the thing a lot. But in that case, even though he was swiping, part of it is everybody in comics swipes or something. You'll see a panel, but if you're trying to, it's a lot of work. It's what, I hate to quote Ryan Clater, but one time he said, comics are hard. 100%, it's a lot of work, especially if you're working on a deadline. I say, even if you're just doing it by yourself, it's solving problems.
Yeah.
And sometimes somebody already solved the problem. I'll just use that one. How many times have you done things like that?
Yeah.
You see somebody do it, you do it.
When I was in art school, one of the projects was to basically swipe comic art.
Yeah.
They literally had us swiping comic art, redoing it, and he wanted you to get it as exact to the original as possible.
Right.
And that was the project. And, I mean, there were some people that just excelled at it.
Yeah.
There was one guy in one of my classes. We're all sitting there doing our swipe art and everything, right? I'm going to call it swipe art now that I think about it. And I remember we're sitting there, we're working on single character drawings, right? And at one point I get up and I start wandering around and I go by this guy's desk and I look. This dude's got a whole freaking comic panel going on. And I'm just like, what? Where's your reference? And he goes, oh, I don't have one. I was like, what do you mean? He had the whole Avengers going on. I mean, he had Cap, Hulk, Iron Man. I mean, he had everybody in these panels. And they were detailed like you wouldn't believe. I mean, here we all are swiping our butts off in this class, passing this project, and this dude's over here just doing original panel art.
Well, that's anything. My buddy Brett and I would talk about this. There's some cartoonists that they're really good at following what other people did, and I mean, we all like some of that. And there's others that just come in and completely. Jack Kirby was one.
Yeah.
He did things nobody did.
Yep.
Jack
Kirby truly was an innovator in the industry.
One time I read online, it was about Dave Cockrum, which Dave Cockrum was somebody I absolutely loved. He was my favorite artist for a long time when I was younger. And I mean, those Legion of Superheroes he did, just 10 stories or 10 issues, those are absolutely, possibly my favorite comics. But the site said the greatest character designer, second to only Jack Kirby. Ooh. Which, yeah, no, I said that one time. I told somebody about it. I said, it's kind of a broad thing.
Yeah, that's a statement right there.
It is a statement, but he redesigned most of the Legion of Superheroes and the new X-Men. Wolverine came from Hulk, but he didn't look the same when he went to the X-Men.
Nope.
And Storm, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Phoenix, they all came from Dave Cockrum. He was the art director for a while at Marvel, and he was designing a lot of stuff. Or I don't know if he wasn't art director, that was John Romita, but he worked on staff, and he did a lot of the covers, he did a lot of design work. But nevertheless, the reason I brought this up, regardless of what you think of that, second only to Jack Kirby, and you start thinking about everything Jack Kirby designed and continued to design after he left Marvel.
Yeah.
And I mean, DC uses all the New Gods all the time.
Oh yeah.
And but that's what we were talking about. There are some creators that are fine to work in the confines of what somebody else did, and there's other ones that just create things right out of the air that nobody's done. One thing I keep thinking about Frank Miller, I see people swipe a lot of Frank Miller stuff, and I'm not bagging on any of that. It's strong stuff to swipe from. But I can't really think of any time I ever saw Frank Miller swipe. Saying that, there is one thing I'm going to say with the whole Elektra stuff with Daredevil, which I loved. But then I got a Spirit by Will Eisner, and it told the story of Sans Serif, yeah, that one lady.
Yep.
And I read that story, and says, this is a lot like Elektra. And then Frank Miller was talking in an interview that he discovered Will Eisner. I saw him in '82 in Dallas, and Frank Miller was talking about everybody was reading and was aware of Will Eisner, but him. He just discovered Will Eisner. But he said, I absolutely lifted the Sans Serif story for Elektra.
Yeah,
but, saying that, when I read it, I said, I see the roots to it, but he made it his own. It wasn't like, a cookie cutter thing.
I mean, but that's what we do as creators. I mean, something inspires you.
Yeah.
Somehow, as a creator, you have been inspired by something. Now, now, what kind of a creator you are depends on what you do with that inspiration. Do you clone it? Do you redo it as your own? That's the determination of how good of a creator you are.
Right, but some people like the cloning. I mean,
some people do like clones. I mean, obviously, like, let's take a look at Superman versus Century. Let's take a look at, characters like Deadpool and, I'm going to blank on DC's Deadpool. But
I don't know, they had a Deadpool.
I mean, Deadpool's basically just Deathstroke. Deathstroke and Deadpool are the same character, except Deathstroke has no sense of humor.
That's the guy from the Teen Titans?
Yeah.
The one-eyed guy?
Yeah. I mean, look at the design of the characters.
Yeah,
they're almost identical.
He came out long before Deadpool.
Yeah, I'm saying Deadpool is a swipe of Deathstroke.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, when I see my nephew back in, I guess, 2000, 2001, he was, we were in California, and we went to the comic store, and he got a Deadpool. And I saw it and it says, it's like a reverse Spider-Man. That's the first thing I thought.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are some aspects of Spider-Man in there too, but I mean, as far as like the mercenary design, the guns, I mean, take a look at Deathstroke and then stand him up next to Deadpool, and you can't tell me that like Rob Liefeld didn't look at Deathstroke and go, I can do that cooler.
Yeah, I got it. See, when I never read Deadpool, but whenever I see it, it's the covers. And I guess I'm told that he just appears, he breaks the fourth wall, which I think is kind of neat. And he appears in other people's books and stuff like that, walks between panels. And the covers are funny. Sometimes I see them where they're like a Classics Illustrated cover and he's in it.
Yeah. But you also have to remember the Deadpool we have today is not the original Deadpool that we got back then. I mean, he's very different. He's far more comical, far more absurd.
Yeah, that's what I've always seen as the comical and absurd.
Yeah, the comical and absurd Deadpool was not the original Deadpool that I remember reading.
Really?
I mean, there was some absurdity, there was some comedy. Like, the original Deadpool was more like a complete psychopath that had no, like, real idea of, like, reality.
Kind of like the
disconnected from reality. But the current Deadpool, as he is in books, it's a far cry from what Liefeld originally created. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was still getting the fourth wall breaks and he was still doing weird crap, but in a more psychotic, lunatic way.
Okay. All right, I apologize.
We went off the rails. Let's go back to this book, Captain LOL.
Now, Craig Yo worked for Jim Henson, and it was a really good podcast called Comic Book Historians. He had an interview with it, which I highly recommend. I'll have it linked on the blog. But he worked for Jim Henson and different aspects of it. It sounded like he was kind of his right hand. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he's done books. I've never had the opportunity to see him. I mean, the ones he's actually done. But this one, somebody came on. It was somebody with a publishing company, and I said, "Yeah, sure." I wasn't expecting what I got, but go ahead. It's Captain LOL and the Rubber Chicken.
Yeah, Captain with a free hole in the book.
Okay, now Rook pointed out the hole. Now we'll talk about everything else, but this hole is amazing because it's
really
a hole
is.
all the way through. It's a die cut all the way through. On the cover it says "free hole," and every single page has something about that hole.
Yep.
And all I could think about was how much work and thought went into that. I mean...
Oh, yeah. Because every single page has a hole joke.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
illustrated, put in...
Yeah. Like, he used this hole on every page. It is not ignored one single time.
And it's not like he had a couple of riffs and then he just kept repeating things and they get lame.
No, they're different.
Every one of them has massive effort. Now this book, a lot of jokes. This is for a younger reader, and but I went through it. First. I read every whole joke on there, but then I went back and looked at. He's got like we're talking about homage. He's got a DC, the Square Checks pop cover from the '60s. Mm-hmm. He's got all kinds of things, but they're little jokes and little line teasers.
A hole in one. Sorry. I'm easily distracted here, people. I'm looking at the book.
All right, saying when I did bring up it's for a younger reader, I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I mean, it's... So it is dad jokes. And one of the things I find really great about this is at the bottom of each page, he does call out when, like, example right here, Aiden J's mom, Ava, age 38, Chicago, Illinois, for this chuckle. So, like, people submitted jokes for this.
Yeah.
And he just turned around, drew them up, and he credits every single person that gave him the joke for each page when it's appropriate. This is a great book.
Yeah,
This is so ridiculously funny.
but it's all the way through. Again, a lot of effort into it. But
Oh,
I see
yeah.
that all I see is fun and really nice artwork. And the captain has one eye.
Yeah,
Which-
one eye and a pair of bat wings on the side of his head.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, I was reading that Tom Scioli book about Jack Kirby. He had something that I never thought about, but him and Joe Simon are designing another character, and they said, "We got to stop using so many wings on helmets." Captain America had it on his mask, but there was I think Red Raven. I remember that because he was in I think Freedom. It was the Liberty Legion or something back in the bicentennial. Marvel and DC were doing Freedom Fighters and
Yeah.
Liberty Legion. But I think he was the Red Raven, and he had like a red suit, and he could fly, but he had those Captain America wings. There was the Wizard.
the wizard.
Now, I don't know if the Wizard was by those guys, but there was a bunch of characters that had those wings on their temples.
Yep.
Now Captain America's the only one, but yeah, it's a terrific book, and if you got dad jokes, but again, I could see younger kids just absolutely treasuring this thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a fun book. Absolutely a fun book. Definitely worth the read. Don, before we end this episode, when we first sat down, I put something on the table and you were like, "Ooh, what's that?" I don't know if you zeroed in on the sticker or the bubble gum.
It's the bubble gum.
It's the bubble gum.
But
Okay.
I like the stickers too.
All right. So the first thing Don zeroed in on was a piece of Bazooka Joe bubble gum. That's just a fun little piece that was added to the packaging. The logo is Wham stands. We've talked about these before. We most recently talked to them with Reese for
Reese
Deuces
Jenkins.
Are Wild. Now, while the book is not here yet, but it's on the way, I have received my Wham stand.
So that's what it is.
Yes, I've had this mysterious black object sitting next to me this whole time, and Don's was not zeroed in so much on that, but on the stuff around it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the fun part, Don. Wham stands, and this is not a paid endorsement, people, so don't give me crap. I absolutely love these stands. These are awesome. I've wanted one forever.
Yeah, you said you'd wanted one. When
Reese gave me a
show.
reason to get one. These Wham stands come with this neat little piece on the front right here that is magnetic, and you can slap a logo on the front of that, baby.
Yeah, Deuces Are Wild, which is his book.
That's Reese's book right there. And it's going to look so pretty once it comes in, and I'm going to have it on the stand, on display. I'll have lots of pictures online for everybody. But how great is this? I mean, not only does this thing hold any book,
Yeah.
but you can pretty much hold books of any size on these Wham stands. By the way, as we're talking about this, I'm reaching over, grabbing various different size books, including regular size comics, my player's hand guide for D&D. All of these are being set on this right in front of Don. And, I mean, this thing holds these books proper on display for you to be able to see. I love Wham stands,
Okay,
dude.
now I want to clarify this. The first book he put on there was the Captain LOL. Then he put the comic book that we've talked about, The Celestial Knight and Caspian Porter, which is a standard comic. Now he's got them both on there.
Now I've got two of them on there.
And then he picked up this massive hardcover Dungeon Master's Guide, and all of them fit comfortably. Not the Dungeon
Not
Guide
together.
at the same time.
No. Dungeon Master's Guide will only fit on it by itself.
And I will say it's a solid stand. I mean, it's not a big stand, but
It's 3D printed.
wow.
It's available for purchase at Wham Stand. I think it's whamstand.com. Let me double check into that for everybody while we're chit-chatting here. But I ran across these on Instagram forever and a day ago. I don't know if it was specifically the Wham, considering I'm a huge Wham fan. Yeah, George Michaels. You heard that right. I like Wham. Bite me. But that was enough to grab me when I saw the Wham. And then when I start seeing what the product actually is, these stands, and he makes them in multiple different styles as well, not just this style. So you can get custom printed plates to go on them and everything. He does a lot of other stuff as well. But like I said, you can find that. That's Wham Stand on Instagram. And then once you go from there, you can find his website and everything like that. Absolutely fantastic product. Like I said, I've seen this online for as long as I can. But you can also go to whamstand.co and check out the products as well.
That's neat. One thing, I like stickers. The bubblegum, the Bazooka Joe bubblegum, I thought it was a special thing. I like Bazooka Joe. I always liked the comic in it. And when I was a kid, they were a penny. And it was like a penny from heaven. As a matter of fact, when I was in the Navy, on the 85 cruise overseas, some guy on the flight deck was passing out bubblegum. Bazooka Joe, his girlfriend sent him 2 boxes. So everybody, bubblegum's happy. You know, it's fun, it tastes good, it's fun to chew. And it came with a comic. And and my division officer, he was a lieutenant commander, real aristocrat. He was a pilot. He spoke to us like we were the unwashed masses all the time. And he, just a real upper crust aristocrat. And he said, wow. But one time he's in flight deck control and he's asking the guy, "Where's the bubblegum? Where's the bubblegum?" And I said, "Well, we're out of it." And the guy was kind of disappointed, but he kept pleading about bubblegum. I'm thinking, this guy, it made you happy. It was a little thing, but, it's something to chew. You got a little comic to read. It's fun. And I thought, this will never happen. But I thought, wouldn't it be neat if we could make 2-dimension bubblegum and have a comic in it? I drew one up. It's on the blog, but I just always thought that would be the funnest thing in the world.
That would be funny.
Well, my daughter would have, when she was little and had birthday parties, we'd have games, and a lot of times for the prize, I'd just go to the dollar store and get a little box of Bazooka Joe, and the kids just thought that was the greatest thing. They'd share it, they'd have it, but it's a happy thing.
Oh yeah.
And I think at one point they took the comics out, but then they
put them back. Oh,
yeah.
No. You know what? I remember when they took the comics out, and I remember I stopped buying Bazooka Joe because I used to collect these little comics. I used to have a little box full of these tiny little Bazooka Joe comics, which, as we're talking, I had to open up the gum just because I wanted the comic, not the gum. But yeah, there it is. There's your Bazooka Joe comic book too. And I just thought it was the greatest thing to have that little Bazooka Joe in there with the Wham stand when it arrived.
I have a Bazooka Joe bubblegum, and one closed and one open, but they're Israeli. They're in Israeli.
Oh wow,
text.
Really?
A friend of mine I worked with gave it to me because he saw I was so enamored with it. And then I went to the St. Petersburg International Folk Festival, SPIFS, and the Israel section had them. My daughter got some, I got a couple. But it was the same comics, but it was in Israeli script. And I thought, God, it's just neat. Yeah, it makes you... And saying that, the jokes were always lame as they could be.
Yeah.
And why does Bazooka Joe have an eye patch? They never explain it. And that character, Mort, had the 7-mile-long neck with the red turtleneck that went over his nose.
Yep.
And online, somebody posted what he really looked like, and they pulled the thing down, and it's like he didn't have any skin, so you could see the
muscle tissue underneath.
And the teeth. It was just horrifying. If you see somebody without skin all the way down, and I'm like, oh, put it back on. But they never made sense to me, but and Howard Cruz, one of my favorite cartoonists from the late 70s and 80s, he was doing them in the 80s. And there was one I thought was actually kind of funny. Bazooka Joe was working behind a counter, like a little restaurant. And there's a girl that says, what kind of music does your band play, Bazooka Joe? And he says, rock and roll. And there's a third guy named Shades, who always wore sunglasses. I'll say. And she said, you've heard his band? I thought he was describing it as hamburgers, and he's holding up a hamburger.
But
Rock and roll. I don't know.
yeah, the jokes were lame.
It was dorky, but I thought that was actually
The jokes
kind
were
of
lame,
funny.
man. What can we tell you? But
So anyway, all right, man. I didn't realize this
Well,
an hour went by.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun, man. Well, we got lots more to talk about. We're gonna have some more episodes, just Don and I hanging out, talking comic books, so definitely check back in with us later. But until next time, read more comics.
You can hear our most recent 20 episodes on iTunes. If you would like to hear our older episodes, you can find them on our blog. Just go to bunchofdorks.com and click on the Cyclops.
Joe Dimension can be found on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you like what you hear, you can subscribe, rate, leave a review, tell a friend, or like us on Facebook. Thanks for listening.
If you would like to be part of the show, draw a fake comic book cover and we'll use it to promote our new episodes online.
If you'd like to promote your music, send us your MP3 and you can have a musical spotlight on the show. Plus, we'll add you on a link on our music page.
We have t-shirts designed available for you, so you can find them on the sidebar of the blog. Listen to the show, wear the shirt.